Alrighty, good morning, everyone. We are in another new temporary space. So if you're a fan of the podcast and you see how things look, it's seems to be changing every Friday, and there's reason for that because the podcast is technically homeless. So we're just bouncing around box to box. So we are literally living out of a box as the podcast would go. So today we have a great episode. We're going to be talking with Daisy Kerne with All Caps Gourmet Mushrooms. They're a very unique company in Lafayette. So as you probably can imagine, they sell mushrooms, but they are mushroom farmers and they're experts in mushrooms. So we're going to be talking with Daisy about mushrooms. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Daisy, welcome to the tea podcast. I wish I had tea to drink because now I'm realizing that there is no water or anything that I can have in here. Normally I have a refrigerator with some water in it, but yeah, that's what happens when you live out of a box at the moment. So welcome to the tea.
Thank you, Ben. I'm honored.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about you, Daisy, and kind of who you are, and then we'll kind of get to diving about the mushroom business, because before we went on, you were telling me about all these other businesses that you're a part of, and I'm like, whoa, we're gonna dive down in there. So yeah, tell me a little bit about you first. Are you originally from here? If not, how did you get here? Tell me a little bit about your origin.
Sure. So I'm originally from Lourville, Louisiana, about 30 minutes or so south of here. Moved to Lafayette in 88, and then moved back to Lourville in 94, and then moved back to Lafayette in 97. And we moved a lot.
Yeah.
I moved a lot. I have 3 kids that I've homeschooled, 2 of the 3 since the beginning. I'm a wedding minister. We started the mushroom farm before COVID, and then COVID. We learned a million ways how not to grow mushrooms.
Oh my gosh.
Which was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. So you are from the area, so
Yes.
that's good. I don't have to be like, okay, what got you here and all that good stuff.
Nah.
Which I love diving into those types of stories. So
The original Acadians brought me here.
yeah. All right. So kind of touching on the mushroom side, because you just mentioned that you're also a wedding minister,
Yes.
and that's like, okay, maybe look, we're going to talk about the mushrooms in just a second. How many businesses or like side gigs do you have?
5, 6.
Okay.
Probably 6.
All right. So you do weddings.
Yes.
You do the mushrooms.
Yes.
You said you do house cleaning.
Yes.
What are the other 2? 3.
So I'm getting my plant-based coaching certification. I'm getting my Ayurvedic nutrition certification.
Okay.
I'm a homeschool mom.
Wow.
I'm a single mom.
Oh, that's a job.
Which
Yeah.
is a job. Yes, definitely a job. They're in their late teens, so
Okay.
I'm almost done.
Yeah. Wow.
And lots of little sprinkles here and there.
Yeah. Okay. So that sounds like most people. I don't think most people have 5 or 6, but most people have at least 2 or 3 little extra things that they do, because that's what you have to survive nowadays.
Yes.
Especially a single mom. I mean,
Multiple
come on.
streams of income are always important.
Yes. All right. So let's get to talking about mushrooms here, because I'm a fun guy. All right. So what made you guys want to start a gourmet mushroom company? I mean, you do the farming of them and everything. Like, tell me a little bit about
finish,
how did that idea come about? Like, what made you sit down one day and be like, man, I really want to sell mushrooms?
So my business partner, Mike, was reading an article while donating plasma about profitable farming. And I went to UL for horticulture many decades ago. And he said, hey, you want to grow mushrooms with me? I was like, what? He was like, no, like the gourmet ones.
Like, yeah, not the ones, not the psychedelics.
Not the ones that'll put us in jail. Yeah. So we started doing research, YouTube, library. We bought our first kit in October of 2019. Didn't get a single fruit off of it. Totally messed them up.
So mushrooms are considered a fruit?
Well, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
So the mushroom itself is the fruit. All the white mycelium that you see is kind of like the tree for the apple.
Okay.
So if you're out foraging mushrooms or you see a mushroom in your yard, picking it or stomping on it or whatever, it's not going to hurt the structure of the being itself, the organism itself. All that root system is either in the bags that we use or under the ground or in the trees, and you can't really see them. But if you have leaf litter in your yard and you pull it apart or it, kind of flies away and you see that white, webby looking material, that's mycelium. Okay. It doesn't mean it's going to make a mushroom, but it is it is a fungus. It is, so it's all decomposing and it's all, it's super neat. It really is. Like mycology is just fascinating.
All right. So for those who probably eat mushrooms but never really thought about mushrooms, like in its core, like what is a mushroom? Obviously it's a fungus, but like how did people first of all, how did people find out that you can eat them? Like just
every mushroom is edible once.
Oh, okay, great. That's a good thing to know.
So, if Bob ate one last week and he's good, then, maybe you can eat one this week. But if Sue ate one yesterday and she's dead, you might not want to eat that one, But yes, just mostly trial and error. It had to be. I mean, just like with most food systems,
Yeah. I mean, there's berries that you can and can't
Correct.
eat. Got it.
Correct.
All right. So,
there's some gorgeous mushrooms that you should not ever eat.
Right. I mean, really, if you watch Discovery Channel, the old school Discovery Channel, whenever you would actually discover stuff from it, you'd learn that real quick that the pretty stuff in nature are the things you don't want to mess with.
More often than not.
Yeah, like a pretty frog, leave the frog alone. Like,
right.
It's very nice and shiny and like pretty, but like leave it alone. Like same thing with like plants. Usually, if it's brightly colored or anything like, the chances are there's some
many of them. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, man, mushrooms. They're just the things are. It's just a fascinating organism, as you called it, a being. That's a weird way to think about it. So. Why mushrooms though? Like what, besides the fact that it's profitability, what's the health factors of mushrooms? Like what is it about mushrooms that really makes you guys excited and like start a business about it?
So there's gourmet mushrooms that are, completely edible. There's lots of nutrition in mushrooms. Mushrooms dried by weight have the same amount of protein as a steak. That's a lot of mushrooms, though. Like an 8-ounce steak and 8 ounces of dried mushrooms. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's a lot healthier for you than that 8-ounce steak. But there's also medicinal mushrooms that we do grow and process a few.
Is that like the psychedelics or?
No, like legitimately medicinal. So we have a lion's mane, which is a gourmet mushroom as well as a medicinal mushroom.
Okay.
It has the same texture as crab or shrimp. So we have lots of customers that make faux crab cakes. 5 Mile, Kelsey with 5 Mile and Sarah did blackened lion's mane wraps and salads this past weekend for an event that we had here at the Light Center. There's lots of different ways to use them in substitution for meat. Some of them have very similar textures. Some of them that are strictly forageable have textures that are almost identical to chicken.
Okay.
We even have some people that make the lion's mane cakes and don't tell people that it's not crab meat.
And the people are just eating it?
No, because it's the same texture. It has a very neutral flavor profile, just like crab meat. If you think about crab meat, when you buy it in a container, it's going to taste like salt water because that's what it's sitting in.
Right.
But once you cook it, it absorbs whatever flavors you have. Same thing with the lion's mane.
And you said there's some with consistency and texture of chicken.
Yes.
Like,
chicken of the woods is the common name, and it's gorgeous. It's orange and yellow and white.
and it has to be super thick, right?
It is. It's super dense. Like you have to slice it. But it
Ah.
has that stringy, chickeny texture.
Okay. Wow. I've
There's
never.
a food truck in Austin that it's a vegan food truck that sells a bucket of chicken, and it's oyster mushrooms, just battered and fried with a biscuit and a lime
All
and
right.
a pepper, and it looks like a bucket of chicken.
All right. Look. You said battered and fried.
Yes.
Let me tell you, if you want to get somebody who's a picky eater to eat something, batter it and
Batter and
fry
fry
it.
it. Oh, yeah.
I used to, as a kid, I loved green beans, but I grew out of that and I got picky. And a few years ago, my wife was like, let's go. She wanted to go eat at P.F. Chang's. And so we went and they had an appetizer. It was fried green beans. And I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. So she wanted it. And I was nervous because I was like, I don't know about green beans. But it's not canned, obviously.
Great.
The
Fresh.
whole,
Sure,
and
sure.
so I get it. And of course, you get a little dipping sauce. And it was amazing. I'm like, okay.
So good.
So now, like, I've tried, I don't like cauliflower, but I've tried it fried. And it's I can eat it. I'm not like grossed out about it. Like the cauliflower by itself has a taste that I just, especially if it's cooked, it just has a weird flavor. But so I say that to say that if there's texture like chicken and it's battered and fried,
Absolutely.
I'd probably be down.
Well, then you're gonna have to come. You're gonna have to come on a Saturday.
Wait, y'all do that there?
No, but you can come get some, and I'll tell you how to. I'll tell you how to prep it.
God, I gotta do it myself.
Yes, you have to come to market. So with oyster mushrooms, you can boil them for about 10 minutes, and then like pat them dry, and then batter them and fry them. The boiling breaks down a certain enzyme that makes it tough and spongy, and that styrofoamy texture that some people can't stand with mushrooms. And it's just the way it was cooked. But a lot of people are so used to canned mushrooms, jarred mushrooms, and they're completely
Anything
turned
canned
off.
is
Right.
I mean, canned chicken,
Anything
who would eat that?
overprocessed. Oh,
Yeah.
so if you semi cook them and then batter them and fry them, it changes the texture dramatically. So we have lots of customers that do exactly that. They'll make po' boys. They'll make, name it, throw it on a salad after, anything that you would do with fried chicken. But oyster mushrooms, anything that you would do with a portobello button mushroom or a button mushroom, you can do with an oyster mushroom. The flavor is just richer and deeper and not as processed feeling.
Yeah. All right. So we have a few comments that came through already. One from, let's see, let me move my logos here so that I can show the comments for you. So this one's from Drew Duga. So Drew Duga says, y'all sell oh my God, the magic mushroom. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously you're messing. Plus it's all caps. Why are you yelling? Anyway. All right. So Cajun Acres, there you go.
Hi, Camille.
She's hollering. She says, oh, hey, sweet Daisy. All right. She says, I've never liked mushrooms until I had daisies. So I'll show that comment there just in case. And also, if y'all are listening, go follow Cajun Acres Hydroponic Greenhouses. I had her on the podcast recently. Great stuff.
All the great lettuce and all the great sprouts.
And then we got Yari who says good morning. Then we got, of course, Camille there. She says amazing hustler right there. And then Yari says my kind of girl. Welcome to the club. Okay, so Camille says on a salad, and she does the I love it thing. We are here for that. And then Yari has a huge comment. I won't read it because it'll take me forever to read it all. So so there's a few comments coming through. So let me get my sponsors mentioned right here real quick. So then we'll continue with the discussion of mushrooms because I'm fascinated with it, and I have a few other things I want to talk about regarding mushrooms. All right, so you guys are probably already familiar with our sponsors. They got the Music Academy of Acadiana, Acadiana's top choice for music lessons. So if you want to get started in music and you suck, they can make you better. And if you are already good at music, you could probably still be better. Check out Music Academy of Acadiana. They have a website called musicacademyacadiana.com. You can just Google them. type it in. It's founded locally by Tim Benson, who's a UL Lafayette music school graduate. The company has won multiple awards. They've been on American Idol and The Voice. So really great company. Their goal is to make music lessons fun, educational, to help foster the next generation of musicians and creative thinkers, because music fosters creativity. I said that. That's not on my script. Trust me. Anyway, yeah, their website's right there on screen. Just Google them. They have a Facebook as well. And if you deleted Facebook, I'm pretty sure they have a TikTok now. You know, whatever. Just do social media the way you want to do social media, but they are on social media. If you want to get started in music, they can help you out. And then our next sponsor is Chase Group Construction. Again, another local company that is super great and founded here. Their thing is dream, design, develop. It's founded by Chase Landry, and it's a general contractor and land developer that specializes in planning, design, and construction as a design build company. So they combine cost awareness of a contractor and all the good stuff in the design process of an architect all in one company. So if you really want to start a new construction from the very beginning of design and then finish it all the way out into the move-in date, they can help you with that. And yeah, they're founded locally. Again, their website is chasegroupconstruction.com. Check them out. And if you want to learn more, a little bit about them, you can ask me questions directly if you so wish to do so. So anyway, we really appreciate our sponsors, and back to the shroom talk. All right. So we watched I guess a series recently called The Last of Us, and you haven't seen it yet.
I have not.
So,
I was waiting for it to finish so I can just binge the whole thing.
All right, so I'm not going to give away too many spoilers or any if I can, but the movie is based off of Fungus. Mm-hmm. That's probably why you mentioned it before we went on live. But this fungus is not nice.
It's not.
It's not nice.
It's not reality.
Right.
Cordyceps are real, and cordyceps do grow on insects, but they do not grow on humans.
So it was funny that not long ago, I literally a couple days ago, there was a thing about some fungus that broke out. Let me see if I can find the article real quick.
Like the deadly fungus that's...
Yeah.
I saw that.
Let's see. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. All right.
I think it's a candida, isn't it?
Yeah. Candida auris, something like that. And it is infection spreading across the U.S. CDC warns of it. This is not good timing, especially when the Last of Us just wrapped up.
Right. Well, candida is a yeast. Everybody has candida in their systems. Everybody.
Okay, so we're just full of fungus?
Yo, absolutely.
Okay.
We're full of fungus. We're full of bacteria. We're
awesome.
full of
good to
we're
know.
full of more things. I mean, just on your skin, even we're full of more things than people want to imagine.
Yeah. Don't look under a microscope.
Right.
Okay, so obviously this is not something to worry about as far as traditional edible mushrooms go.
No.
All right. No. And do you? I don't know if you're a fungus aficionado or just a mushroom aficionado, but you probably don't expect The Last of Us to come through fruition, huh?
No.
All right, cool.
No. It was a great video game, but and obviously a very cool series, but no.
All right. So your company, all caps, I'm looking at the website right now, and it says locally and sustainably grown. How do you grow mushrooms?
So we start with a liquid culture. So we buy very specific genetics from very specific growers that we trust. And we buy certain strains that we know can grow together in the same climate. Our fruit room it's not much bigger than this room here. But we turn and burn bags multiple times a week. So
when you say bags, like bags of mushrooms or bags of...
Yes. So one of the pictures that I sent you, the racks of, it looks like plastic bags.
There you
go. So we buy oxy-biodegradable bags that break down within a year or two into small enough particles that anaerobic bacteria can absorb them. So the bags decompose, but what's in the bags is hardwood sawdust and soy hull, pelletized soy hulls. The hardwood is what the mycelium eats on. which mycelium's like the tree of the mushroom, and then the mushroom itself is the apple.
So so if you're looking at like the Mario character, the mushroom with the red hat,
Right.
spotted hat,
Agaricus.
the red part is the fruit.
Fruiting body, yes.
And then the body of the little character, that's just the tree part.
Right.
Got it. Okay, making sure we understood here.
Yeah.
I'm using the Nintendo characters. Hey, I'm trying to do what I got to do to visualize.
Absolutely.
Got it.
So we use the liquid culture and we sterilize whole oats. So first, there's a million different ways to grow mushrooms.
Cow patties.
Right. Have fun. You'll regret it tomorrow, but yeah. So
Sorry.
Oh no!
First thing
we get a minimum of 5 to 10 people every weekend at market asking about the same thing.
I bet.
It's not an unusual question, but I'm not trying to go to jail. So
Yeah, no doubt. So you're doing it the right
no
way.
Schedule 1 narcotics at Lafayette Farmers Market.
Yeah. No cap.
Right.
All caps. I don't. Anyway, we're getting convoluted on that one.
So, it's a simple-ish process, but it's multiple stages and it's time. We have to do the same process twice a week, or in 4 weeks, we have nothing. So our bags, most varieties are done within, 6 to 8 weeks. We have some varieties that won't fruit for a minimum of 2 to 4 months.
Jeez, that's like forever.
So those our seasoning is with our shiitake, and shiitake takes a little longer, and it grows a little different than the other varieties that we grow. So that one we just turn into seasoning, which I'm going to make you try in a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Look, she did brought a bag. If I can get it in front of the camera, there you go. So there's some seasoning. It's not mushroom.
It is mushrooms.
It is
so
mushrooms?
it's smoked sea salt,
Okay.
black garlic, and shiitake mushrooms.
All right.
And so it's super clean. It's just 4 ingredients, and it's good on everything, anything savory.
You know what? I don't know if you get this a lot. My first reaction to the flavor, it tasted like almost like a ramen.
Ramen packet.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Making sure I'm not far off.
It's that umami. It's that salty. It's that I haven't looked, but they probably have mushroom or fish sauce in the packet.
Okay.
Which is a similar flavor profile as well.
Oh, it smells so good.
But we get our sea salt comes from Peace, Love, and Smoke. He does a cold smoke. And we age our black garlic ourselves. We grow the shiitake ourselves. And I use another little teff flour as like an anti-caking. But yeah, 4 ingredients, super clean.
So you make this yourself?
Yes.
And how much do you sell a bottle for?
We have a 2 ounce for 10 and a 6 ounce for 25.
All right.
And a little bit goes a long way.
A little bit. Yeah, because I can tell you, I mean.
You still tasted it.
Yeah.
Huh?
So Pocket Change Cattle Company says, we love the shiitake seasoning, which was what we just tried. And as we were trying it, they responded, it's good alone or on everything. So obviously it tastes like it tastes like it'd be good on chicken or really anything.
So, yes. If you're a meat eater, a steak right off the grill, as a post seasoning, if anything with a flame, because the shiitake is already dry, so it'll burn. But just sprinkle it on while it's resting, and it just kind of like melts into everything.
Okay. So on the line of shiitake, I feel like anytime you talk about mushrooms, that's probably the first name that anybody comes up with. It's like, oh, shiitake. Like that's the most common term. Is that fair to say that's the most common mushroom?
Commercially, so portobello mushroom and a button mushroom and a cremini mushroom are literally the exact same species.
Okay.
The white button mushroom is just the albino version of the portobello cremini. They're just grown differently and harvested at different times.
What about the mushrooms that are real big that they almost use as like burger
It's
patties?
burger. It's a portobello. It's
Okay.
just the cap, but they purposefully grow that species bigger. You can get the baby bellas, which is the same thing. It's like the brown and the white.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same mushroom. People swear they taste different. They really don't.
But it's just a visually
absolutely.
mental thing.
You know, at some point, whiter foods were more appealing to the eye than a brown. So
Look, in Louisiana,
right, everything
brown
goes in a
food,
gravy. Right.
brown food is more appealing. Okay.
Yes, the land of monochromatic food sometimes.
Yeah, hey, you're definitely correct on that, but the flavors are there.
Absolutely.
It may look all the same.
I'm not knocking it.
If it's white, it needs more seasoning. Oh, that chicken does not look seasoned at all. Like it's still white.
Right.
All right, so you sent me a few more photos of some mushrooms, and I want to go ahead and cycle through some of that. So let me get my situation set up here. Okay, so first one, I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to click this. There we go. Okay, so the first one is, I don't know if you can tell, but it's the one that it looks like they're white and grayish on top.
That's one of our blue oyster mushrooms.
Okay, blue oysters. You were telling me that this is the one that's probably chicken textured.
You can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where does in I guess in nature, does this grow organically in nature?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, where if somebody wanted to find them,
strain, a local Louisiana strain that we grow as well, a pearl oyster. So oyster mushrooms can be found on dead wood. All of our mushrooms can be found on dead wood somewhere.
Okay, but, I've seen plenty.
Yeah.
I don't eat it because I don't know.
We have people that send us pictures from Lake Martin of massive oyster clusters, like multiple pounds in one big cluster, because that's where it lives. That's where it loves to be. So wooded areas, darker areas, humid areas, you can find oysters. You can find lion's mane locally as well.
Really? Just kind of going outside and walking around?
You can find, so Lake Martin's another one. Acadiana Nature Station has lots of mushrooms. Okay. But even further north, up in Chico and, North Louisiana, as the further north you go, the more varieties of mushrooms you can find. We're super flat here, of course. So the water and everything just kind of sits. So the water can't run off. And mycelium loves moisture, but doesn't like to be saturated.
So
around the swampy areas.
So is it fair to say it likes a humid climate?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, it definitely needs the humidity. It needs the water. So a lot of times the day after a storm or the day after, say, a small depression kind of thing, you'll see lots of mushrooms because it'll get that rain, but it'll also shake up the tree a little bit. And that gives, like, if the bark kind of separates just a little bit, that mycelium will get fresh air, and that's its trigger to grow.
All right.
So there's a few trees around the area that after Hurricane Barry, they were just covered all the way around the base in what's called a ringless honey mushroom. And it's just because the roots and the base of the tree was shaken up just enough to get some fresh air in there, and that was the trigger.
Wow. As a kid, I would go in the woods all the time, and I would always see these mushrooms, and I'd be deathly afraid to even touch them because I just, I knew as a kid it's a fungus.
Absolutely.
I knew people eat mushrooms, but I just knew that those mushrooms were in a controlled environment typically. Yes. And I'm like, these are wild. I'm not even going to try to eat them. But what I would do is I would like kick it or break it as a kid.
Yeah. Spread the spores. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah. And I'd be curious on like what the texture would look like on the inside, and if there's like a little alien living on the middle of it, stuff like that. And just mushrooms are fascinating as a kid, and they still are. Like, for example, a couple of weeks ago, my neighbor, he had mowed, and it was neighborhood peer pressure. It was now my turn to mow. But literally the next morning, I felt like he had mushrooms already popping up in his yard. I'm like, he literally just mowed. Mm-hmm. Why did these mushrooms grow so fast? Like, those mushrooms in your yard, I don't know if you can speak to them to like know what they are exactly, because I know it can change in variety, but usually they're relatively long and they have the little white top. What is that?
That you would need to identify any mushroom that you want to eat that you find in nature. You absolutely have to identify it first. Those are probably not edible.
I didn't think so. Unless
they're, orange, like they might be a chanterelle. It's not super common down here. There are some areas in South Louisiana that you can find an abundance of chanterelles. Those are strictly forageable. They work symbiotic with the soil. So whatever is in the soil is what they need, which is something that we can't mimic.
Okay.
Which I wish we could.
Yeah.
But,
so you can't grow those?
I cannot.
Wow.
I cannot. I can't grow morels. I can't grow chanterelles. There are some people that are doing trials to try, and there's a couple of studies in other countries that they've grown morels. They've grown the structure, but the flavor's not there. So it's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Because it's the flavor that people are after.
And
it's the flavor that makes it so expensive.
And it's not like there's a seed, you know.
Right. Well, I mean, it's spores, which is basically the seeds.
Right.
But it needs a very specific environment and very specific nutrients, or it won't do anything. I mean, you might get some mycelium to grow, but you won't get the fruiting body.
Wow. Okay. All right.
That's why mushroom hunters, they spend hours.
I'm sure, because I mean it's probably good money to grab those if you see them. Yeah, because you can't, like you said, you can't grow them.
So morels don't have a lookalike, but a chanterelle has a lookalike that will destroy your liver. Right. So
how do you know?
You have to open it up. There's different characteristics for each one. The color and the shape are very similar, but there's like the gills are different, and on the inside, the meat on the inside is different between one and the other. So exactly.
Wow.
But
not to scare anybody.
Right. Oysters do not have a lookalike, and lion's mane doesn't have a lookalike.
Okay.
So those are
all right.
So those are safer.
Okay.
But you should always double check.
Yeah,
what
don't
varieties
go.
You have.
I guess for a safety precaution, don't go out eating mushrooms at all. I
mean, it's not advised.
Yeah, I mean, if it destroys your liver, geez. I mean, Cajuns already have a bad liver.
Right.
All right. So
all those festivals.
Yeah. So I'm gonna show a photo. This has a reddish color.
Yes, that's our pink oyster mushroom.
Okay.
So that one's really great as like a bacony texture. It's super, super thin as opposed to some of our other oysters, and there's less moisture content. So pan frying them with a little bit of smoked paprika, it gives you that same bacony texture. So they're great on pizzas because they just kind of shrivel, and then you get the flavor, and it has more of a seafoody flavor than some of the other oysters.
You can't like add liquid smoke to make it smoke like bacon.
Stuff's so gross.
I know.
So
hey,
gross.
I would never advise it, but I'm just saying.
Oh, you definitely could, but you could do like a smoked salt or a smoked paprika or a smoked something else that's
not gross.
Go see Jay with Peace Loving Smoke. He has all the smoke stuff.
Okay.
But so that one's really fun.
So it's still an oyster base.
Yes.
Okay.
It's more of it's a tropical variety.
Okay.
So we don't usually grow it during the winter, but we're about to start kicking it up for the spring and the summer.
Got it. All right. So you got some jars, here. So this one is the smoky shiitake and garlic, black garlic powder.
Yes, that's what's in your bag.
That's the
one you just tried.
Awesome.
Yes.
And so that is, and you said what is it, a 2 ounce?
A 2 ounce and a 6 ounce.
Yeah. And you said the 6 ounce is 25, the 2 ounce is 10? Yeah. Okay. So that's cool. And then you have, I'm guessing this is culture. This is little droplets.
These are our medicinal supplemental tinctures. So the lion's mane is great for the brain and the gut. It helps with reconnecting brain synapses, healing damaged nerve endings, as well as nutrition absorption in the gut, which helps with your sugar balance in your body. Lots of great polysaccharides and triterpenes that are good for.
Yeah.
And then the turkey tail is what an oncologist would tell you to research because they can't prescribe it. So it's great for your immune system. It's great for fighting off the things that you have to do when you have cancer. But it's great overall for your immune system. So just one little dropper per day. You can add it. You can put it directly into your tongue. We have people that add it to their coffee.
Does it taste good, or does it have a weird
It
flavor?
has a, so it's about 60-40 alcohol and water, just because of the 2 extractions that we do to get out, the most benefits that we can.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of alcohol and a little bit of a woodsy.
Okay.
So it's like a mushroom shot.
All right. Okay, so random thought.
Yes.
Kombucha.
Yes.
Is that a mushroom?
It's
a fungus, right?
It's a bacterial.
Okay.
Yes. So it's the SCOBY is sometimes called the mushroom for the kombucha. But it's a bacteria. It's a specific bacteria that eats the sugar in the kombucha that makes it ferment, that uses the tea. Which is all good stuff too.
Yeah, look, I tasted kombucha at the local place that makes it.
R2 positive?
Yes.
Yes.
And it tasted like alcohol.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was wild. Let me get off this shot here. So she was showing me all kind of different things, and she also makes black garlic
I got my black garlic from Rosanna in the very beginning. And then I was buying out everything that she was able to make. So I just got my own machines to do it. She's great. She's got lots of great stuff.
Indeed. And walking through her facility, it's a little it's a little odd, like, to see, I guess, what they call the mother. Mm-hmm. Man.
It looks like snot.
It looks like it's almost as if, snot, or whenever I hear the term mother, like, I look at this thing, the SCOBY, they call it, and I'm like, I feel like it's an alien. Mm-hmm. It's just like living and breathing in this liquid, and they call it the mother. And I'm like, so I'm drinking what that thing is floating in. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. But apparently it's good for you.
It's amazing. It's amazing for your body. It's amazing for your immune system, your digestive system.
See,
all kinds of good stuff.
I liked the flavor. But it still weirds me out that there's this floating thing. It's, me being picky and
and they don't overly process theirs. So you're getting such great nutrients.
Okay.
Like the ones that you can buy in, most mass market stores, they have to, it's not pasteurized, but they have to process it differently to where it doesn't turn into alcohol, because the fermentation will continue and it will get to an alcohol level that's illegal, for kombucha.
Yeah, it'd be like moonshine, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, or like a wine or like a beer. So it's that fermentation process that helps break all that down.
Okay.
But it eats the sugars. So there's certain fruits that you can't really use to make kombucha unless you're drinking it almost immediately. Once it's done, you got to drink it because it's going to keep going and it's going to turn into alcohol.
Lord. Okay. So that was this little side thought with the kombucha thing. You mentioned lion's mane. And you did not send me a photo of lion's mane. However,
but I do have,
with the power of Google.
Yes.
I pulled up a lion's mane image, and I think it looks like a lion's mane.
It's like, it looks fuzzy.
It looks fuzzy.
I usually have a little piece for people to touch because it doesn't feel like it looks.
Okay.
It looks fluffy and dry, and it's dense and moist.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I got a picture here. I'm going to pull it up. This one's kind of pinkish in color. Mm-hmm. Is that normal?
In the earlier stages, some varieties can be a pinkish color, and then once they start growing those teeth,
the teeth, okay,
they get a little lighter.
This one has little teeth-looking stuff. Mm-hmm. So,
and there's lots of different varieties of Herysium, which is the lion's mane species. Some of them look like coral. Some of them look like little bulbous white heads without a lot of teeth. There's lots of different varieties. Yeah, mushrooms are fascinating.
Yes.
And different varieties grow differently in certain in different climates. We have some friends that grow in other states, and we can have the same genetics and get different looking mushrooms.
You know what? Godspeed all the people that had to taste mushrooms and find out the hard way if it was good or
I'm
not.
glad it was before me.
Lord, because like, I'll be honest, if I saw this out in nature, there was no way I'm putting that in my mouth.
Well, some people walk up and ask if they thought that from far, they think it looks like cauliflower.
Yeah.
And when they walk up, it looks like coral. And
Oh, my goodness. That's so interesting. Mushrooms, man. All right. So we are at 40 minutes. I want to talk a little bit about your website here. So I'm looking at it and I'll pull it up for people to see. So it's all caps gourmetmushrooms.com. I didn't put the domain on the screen, but it's easy. All caps gourmetmushrooms.com. Just Google it. All caps gourmet mushrooms. You'll find it. And the first initial part of the website, you'll see where it says locally and sustainably grown. And it tells you a little bit about it. And they started in 2019. 2 friends, just you can read all about it there. And then you can actually order online. You can get a grow kit.
Yes. So we are going to be at Festival de Fleur, April 15th.
Okay.
With grow kits, and at Sunset Herb Fest, May 6th with grow kits as well. We'll have lion's mane and oyster grow kits that you can literally just grow them on your counter and harvest them and cook them. And
so what does a grow kit look like? It
looks like a
bucket?
smaller. So we have a bucket workshop that we do.
Okay.
It's a little different. But the kits are a smaller version of our production bags, the picture that you had earlier. It's a 5-pound bag instead of our 10-pound bags.
So this picture here with the shelves?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a smaller version of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But we do have a bucket workshop that's not on the website yet. May 27th, I think, is the last Saturday in May.
Okay.
At Fightonville Fresh. We've done a couple there already. We did one just a few weeks ago, and we're already getting pictures in with little pins coming out.
Nice.
So mushrooms are already starting.
Yeah, so you go through the whole thing of like how to harvest it, ready to harvest, ready for a second flush.
A flush, yes.
What is a flush?
When they fruit out of the bag, it's like it's a flush of mushrooms.
All right, man, this is fascinating. Growing mushrooms. Never would have thought that would be something that people do. Like I don't know, you just go to the grocery store, you see mushrooms, and hey, I want those mushrooms. You buy it.
Many people before me have made this a lot easier for me to bring it to anybody that wants to.
And you said you were talking about the workshop, so you don't have anything.
I don't have it on there yet, but May 27th at Fightingville, and we'll have that posted. I'll do it tonight because we'll be at Love Fest tomorrow. So we're hoping to get some people signed up there as well.
Awesome. So just looking through your website, it's great. The grow kit information is quite extensive, so that's good.
We want you to succeed, so I'm giving you as much information as possible.
I got one more photo. So it's of you holding a bundle of mushrooms.
Those are our chestnut mushrooms. Those are one of my favorite ones to watch fruit because they start out so tiny and fuzzy looking.
Let me see if I can zoom in here to the thing.
And they have a really great, they have a hazelnutty flavor. Their spore print is a coppery color. So anything that you cook with it turns that brownish color automatically.
It's like,
but they're great
like
in stir fries. They're great in like especially a stew, or if you're stuffing a roast. This is a great mushroom to use to give it that real good depth of flavor.
Yeah. Now, so since Camille's still commenting, she's still watching. Thank you, Camille, for hanging out.
Thank you, Camille.
Speaking of hydroponic, are mushrooms able to be grown hydroponically, or does it need like a bark or a tree type thing?
It needs its own little biome.
Okay.
So what we make, in the simplest of terms, is a log in a bag. It's sealed up in front of a flow hood that blows air towards us, that blows away any other spores, any other bacteria. Because whatever gets in the bag before it gets sealed, it's a battle of the species. Every mushroom farm has contamination. There's a grower in, I think he's in Oklahoma, that said, if you don't have contamination, you're not growing enough. So the average is about 10%.
When you say contamination,
So trichoderma, which is another organism that loves wet dirt, wet mud, wet wood. It's great in gardens. It's great. I mean, it's outside everywhere. Any of the green, maybe not any of the green stuff you see outside, but they're green in our bags. And a lot of the oysters can fight off the trichoderma, but some of the other ones just can't.
So oysters are pretty hardy.
They are very, very.
Okay.
There's a few varieties that people are working with to eat plastic.
Wait, the mushrooms will eat the
yes,
plastic?
The
Wow,
mycelium
nice.
will consume the plastic and just break it down to where it's not a plastic. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
So it's not anything that's going to be like, let's dump this in the landfill and get it all broken down. It's not going to happen.
That would be cool if it did. But yeah.
Wouldn't it? Yeah. So, but there are people that are trying to find something to break down the amount of waste that we consume and we produce daily.
Yeah.
So less plastic would be better, but it's a necessity at this point in life.
Right. I know. You need it for a lot of different things. I mean, a lot of the stuff I have right here is plastic. So, but at least I'm not throwing all this stuff away.
Correct.
So you were talking about green stuff, and is mold considered a fungus? I think
I'm not sure.
I'm not. So, because when you mentioned spores,
yes,
like that's where my mind goes, like mold,
yes,
floating around outside.
I can't speak 100% on that.
Okay.
I should know that though.
Yeah. Well, hey, I don't expect you to.
Trees have seeds and fruits have seeds. So the spores are the seed of these biological creatures.
Yeah. Dude, again, like I said, mushrooms are fascinating.
They are. They really are. You're gonna fall down a rabbit hole now.
I know.
And you're gonna start seeing them everywhere.
And I'll be straight up and honest. I've never eaten psychedelic mushrooms because I really don't like eating mushrooms in general. So it's always intrigued me. Like, what are people experiencing? Like, I'd like to know, what are they seeing? Because some of these people that I've known have eaten mushrooms they just see some stuff. I'm like,
there's lots of universities right now that are doing studies for psychoactive mushrooms. It's decriminalized in a few areas in the States. Colorado is completely decriminalized. Not legal, but decriminalized.
Okay. It's kind of like a small amount of weed here.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a few other areas that are decriminalized, but there's universities that are doing studies for PTSD, for depression, and it's a micro dose. It's a very, very small amount. You're not eating a handful.
I mean, yeah, it would have to be like such a small amount, like put it in a cookie or something.
I mean, it's capsules or it's tinctures or it's something like that, something that can be measured, something that can be a dosage. So they're doing those trials just like they did with marijuana, just to get the medicinal aspects of it proven to be able to use it as a medicine.
Wow. And that's something I don't feel like people are talking more about, like the whole mushroom thing. Because people are all about trying to get marijuana on a recreational level. And I think that's great. I think if it can be recreationalized and not criminalized and all this good stuff, as long as you use it responsibly. I mean, alcohol does more damage to people, but you can go freely buy it at the Rouse's, all that good stuff. Not to put Rouse's on blast there, but...
I mean, almost any convenience store.
Any place.
Almost
and
anywhere.
So... I actually met with a business who is a pharmacy for medicinal marijuana, and they can't do recreational, but they can accept. They call it recommendations. It's not a prescription.
Right.
Recommendation. Air quotes.
All the legalese.
All the stuff, but yeah, like the owner was like saying how it has, over the past couple of years, has gotten easier to access the medicinal products. And so, like he said, back 3 or 4 years ago when I first opened, you had to almost prove that you had cancer and this and that.
Right.
He said now and I'm not trying to advertise for them, so this is not an ad. This is just information based on that. Now, if you reach out to a doctor that is able to give recommendations, and you just say, like, I have severe headaches,
your chiropractor can give you recommendations.
Like, just straight up, like, okay. So you'll walk in, and I'm not even kidding you, the names of these products are the best. I couldn't even tell you what the names were, but they were so, like, psychedelically sounding. Like, obviously Kush is a very simple one, but they had some fancy names, and
they have some really old marijuana strain names.
Yeah.
Like, you know, early 70s, 60s, and those are still around.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole.
There's some fun names out there.
Yeah, I don't want to go down a tangent on that, but even though I kind of did. So
mushrooms aren't much better. Some of those names are hysterical.
I mean, look at the restaurant Mellow Mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
They were capitalizing on the whole mushroom theme.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the character was a mushroom, and they had the mascot came in as a mushroom. I'm like, dude, this is interesting.
There's not many times you'll see me out in public without a mushroom shirt on.
You got a mushroom shirt on now.
This is my logo, but even when I'm not wearing a work shirt, because there's a niche right now. There's mushroom stuff everywhere, from jewelry to kitchenware to artwork. Mushrooms are big right now.
What is it about mushrooms that make it big?
It's different. It's new. Each mushroom is different.
Okay.
Whether
they look cool, I'll give it that. Yeah.
But the nutritional value of mushrooms right now is a good turning point.
Okay.
Over COVID, there were so many mushroom farms that started because people were home, and it's something that you can do fairly easy on a small scale. When you want mushrooms, you throw some things together. You can do some things with an Instant Pot and a bucket. It's not that it's a difficult farming practice. It's a very repetitive farming practice. We go through over a literal ton of substrate a month. That's coming in and going out. Because once it flushes, once we harvest certain varieties, that bag's done for us. Because the next flush is going to take longer and it's going to be smaller, and it could contaminate other bags around it. So we have this pile outside. We have other farmers that come and pick them up. We use them for our bucket workshops. There's a couple of artists in the Arnaville area that are designing a structure to put the blocks in and just watch it fruit and watch it decompose and see how it happens. So I'm super excited about that.
And so the things that you discard and people come, are those mushrooms still edible?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. We'll get, it's great for your compost. It's great to either start your compost or finish your compost. In that intermediate area, it's too hot in the center of your compost, and the mycelium will die. But it's a great kickstart to start breaking down all those materials, or it's a good finisher to finish out to make that super fine. The mycelium also is very water dense. So it brings a lot of moisture to your flower beds or to your gardens. And it's lots of nitrogen that will leach into the soil as well, which they love. So we have a few people that come, and we have a little list, and it's like next one on the list. They come fill up a truck or fill up whatever they bring that they want to carry it out with. But it's a great, it just keeps going. Okay.
And kind of my last thought here while you were telling me about that is, I feel like, I don't know why, I feel like jellyfish looked similar to kind of the top of like the kind of I don't know. And so it makes me think, are mushrooms in general okay to touch, or is there residue on mushrooms that you should not mess with? That
I wouldn't, in nature, I wouldn't touch any without trying to get an ID first.
Okay.
If you're in Louisiana, there's Facebook groups that help to identify mushrooms. They will want a picture of it where it is. They'll want a picture of the underside of it, as close and as clear as you can get. And there's so many knowledgeable mushroom foragers that will just quickly spit out like the Latin names of whatever it is and tell you whether or not, you're good to go or leave it alone.
You say Latin names. So like for mold, aspergillus, is that considered a kind of
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So
what's the Latin name for an oyster mushroom? Do you know?
I'm going to mess it up. But I know that lion's mane is Herysium erinaceus.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Right. And they all have lovely, pretty, even like there's a death cap mushroom and it has a beautiful Latin name. I can't say it right now, but
death cat?
Cap.
Death
Yeah.
cap.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that safe to eat?
No. But it makes a really cool dark ink that people can use for paint and stuff.
Oh, that is
as it
nice.
decomposes, it just turns into this.
I was about to say death cap does not sound like something you can eat, but I was going to be surprised if you could.
But there's lots of mushroom art made with the mushroom itself, made from just pulverizing the mushroom.
Yeah.
And it gives you those colors to be able to paint and to dye clothes and things like that.
That's awesome. All right. Well, this was very interesting, and I really do appreciate the seasoning. That will definitely be used because
fresh popcorn.
Man.
While it's still steaming.
Yeah.
It sticks. It's so great.
Okay.
But eggs, breakfast bowls, roasted veggies, even cauliflower.
Okay.
Your favorite?
Absolutely my favorite. But you know what? The flavor of that seasoning is really something. It's strong and so reminiscent, like I said, of like the flavors of the ramen, even though it's not ramen. Right. You could probably use it in place of your
you can get black garlic at some ramen restaurants. So it's that umami flavor, and most restaurant ramen probably already has mushrooms in it as well.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, most of them do. Have you been to Izumi Ramen?
I've ordered from there.
Okay.
I haven't sat over there, but I did order.
My wife and I went over there not long ago, and I wasn't in the mood to have a ramen bowl because I was not feeling soupy at all. It's very rare if I'm feeling soupy, unless it's like gumbo, I'll do that. But she wanted ramen, and I was like, you know what? There is a great ramen place, and I think we have two of them. I think Katsu
and Izumi.
Izumi, yes. So I know the owners of Izumi, so that's why I chose that. And I was like, you know what? Let's go there because I know they have other things besides the ramen bowls. So we get there, and she's looking at the menu, and she sees a ramen bowl that she likes. And we were looking at other tables because if you don't look at other tables, what are you doing at a restaurant? You got to look at other food to be like, okay, I want that.
Well, it's like when they walk the fajitas through
the
the restaurant,
sizzling fajitas,
okay, well that's what I want.
You just the smell of it. Yep, I'll have that. So she saw how big the bowls were, and she's like, "Wow, I don't even know if I'll be able to finish it." She had to bring some home, and then I was looking at the small plates, and they had like these puffy looking, like taco looking things.
Yeah,
I forget what
those are so good.
Karagis, maybe. Either way, they were really good. And then we did seasoned edamame. Mm-hmm. Great place, but
this
her bowl.
This would be great on edamame too.
Well, great on anything, literally. But yeah, so I think her bowl had mushrooms in it, and like you said, almost every one of them probably has mushrooms in it because that's one of the dominant flavors. And I think I don't know if we were live whenever I talked about this with the supreme pizza, but I get a supreme pizza and I have the mushrooms on it, but I'll take them off because I want the flavor that the mushroom provides. And so there's definitely no discounting the flavor profile of mushrooms. Just the texture is the part that gets me. But if you say there's a chicken texture, I'm telling you. All right.
It takes a little bit more work with the oyster mushrooms, but it's worth it.
All right. But you do have the other one that has
Chicken of the Woods? No, that one's one that's strictly forageable as well. Oh, I know. Trust me. We get people asking all the time. Yeah. And it's a seasonal one as well. So
you mean if I want to enjoy a a meatless chicken, and I have to go forage it myself. Lord.
Well, no, you can use the oysters. You can use oysters, or you can use lion's mane.
But like to get the full effect of what you were talking about, I felt like, darn. Okay.
Next time I see somebody that finds one at Acadiana Nature Station, I'll let you know.
All right, man. I'd be so nervous, but hey, if it's fried, I'll be willing to try it. Alrighty. Yeah, Daisy, this was an interesting chat about mushrooms.
Thank you, Ben.
I appreciate you coming on and telling us about it and talking about your company. If you want to go ahead and let people know how they can find more about you,
Absolutely.
feel free to go ahead and tell them.
We are at Monkus Park every Saturday morning, rain, shine, freeze or fry. We're set up from 8 to 12. You can find some of our products at Fight and Bill Fresh, San Paquette, and soon at 5 Mile Eatery. We'll be at Love Fest this Saturday from 8 to 8. Festival de Fleur is April 15th. Sunset Herb Fest is May 6th. And then our bucket workshop at Fightonville is May 27th.
Awesome.
And then we might take a little break in the summer.
Oh, yeah. And then you have your website,
Yes.
all caps gourmetmushrooms.com.
Yes.
Just
You can get more information there.
Yeah.
We also ship our tinctures and our seasoning.
great. Well, Daisy, I'm glad that you were able to make it, and I'm glad we were able to get everything set up in time. And I enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you, Ben.
All right, so yeah, if you guys want to check her out, you know how to check her out. You go to the website or go to the mini events and the farmers market on Saturdays. So go get you some shrooms. Is that a good? You don't like that term?
Oh, well, no. I mean, it has a little bit of a different connotation to some people.
Yeah. I know.
Which is fine.
I'm just messing.
I usually just say much love.
Yeah, just go get you some mushrooms. All right, with that, we'll see you guys on the next one. And again, Daisy, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.